mentality of, well, the government's going to provide this, or come on, I want Windows to do this for me, and it never happens. It actually can be ended. We can terminate that. A place where you can take the opportunity is unheard of anymore. Now, here's what I'm going to try and say. Think of a community. I think, Tobias, tell me if this sounds kind of like where we're trying to define community as a place to be,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A community that I don't want to be part of is one where I say, I'm ready to go to work, but then I have to go file a $5 fee to get permission from this county in order to have a permit to do this kind of business. And then I go down here and I file another $10 permit here. And then I have to track whether or not I've got a piano in my house because it's going to be taxed. Oh, and if I have law books on the shelf, gosh, I've got to report this piece of... there is so much intrusion upon us that, you just can't decide, oh, gosh, I think I'll make fiddles, or, oh, geez, let's be a wheelwright, or, man, if I could just be I'm just going to be a blacksmith now. That's like, unheard of, just to be thinking about something and then just go doing it. Oh, well, heck no, we got to, So community that I'm trying to describe here is just a place where you can just literally engage. You just take off and become responsible. You don't wait for somebody else to make your problem go away, but you're willing to pay with this cash thing. If we were to define this, Tobias, as what is more valuable, our effort, our energy, or the money?
Right.
I really have to say, wouldn't you, that it's your effort?
Well, it has to be. You can't help but look at it that way for it to succeed, because it's really not that deep. Considering it's the bureaucracy and the red tape that things that you've just mentioned that have got us to the point we are at now. And when you take all of those, when you take all of those things out of the picture, you get something much more simple, much more progressive, and something that can actually work to your favor to build something stronger.
And to sit around and to say, oh, well, I've got $30, I'll have the guy come and you're standing around in a, quote, community circle, and the guy says, well, I need my garden tilled, and he lays $30 out. Mm-hmm. In the sense that we are consumers as opposed to community-minded. You lay the $30 on the table and everybody looks around at everybody in today's culture, is what I'm talking about. And they're all like, okay, well, where's the guy that's going to plow my garden?
Right.
I've got the money here. Where's he at? It's like, hello, they're standing right in front of you, And so really what isn't that person standing in front of me is somebody else. But I, myself, Dr. Waterman, is actually someone standing in front of somebody else asking, well, who could I see to get well? Hello? Yeah. So our community becomes a place where we can take responsibility for yourself. Now, that sounds like a work ethic. It does kind of sound like, oh, gosh, we've inherited this great burden of curse. And so we've got to sing the Russian slave song as we pull the barge up the rivers of Russia. Da, 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 da. It sounds like we're trying to be some kind of, I don't know, slave driver. But that isn't the case, actually. Community is to allow somebody, I think, and I think this is what Tobias and I really see eye to eye on. It's an opportunity for people to engage in things they want to pursue.
Right, exactly.
And it opens the door to that creativity of the thing that how many times have you talked, Tobias, to somebody that says, I'd really like to do some woodworking.
Yep.
And maybe the guy knows how to make a table, a chair, a bookcase. Maybe he knows how to build a house, but, I just haven't really, I'm still over here doing. Go ahead.
Right, or maybe the person hasn't had the time to do something like that they wanted to because of the modern days we find ourselves in. I mean, we've talked about how the year used to work where you'd be working for 6 months for the year, and then as the decades and time progressed, it turns out we're working what is it now? 9 months of the year, or earnings are going to the tax man basically. And even though it may sound a little idealistic, what we're talking about, really, it's not that hard. And when you approach it from the right perspective, very much like you're describing, we'd find ourselves in a position where we would have more time to spend with our families, more time to spend with our loved ones. I mean, it really does work. It's not as hard as it may sound.
Oh, yeah, it's exactly. The thing that we have to remember is, we're working 12 months out of the year now. 2 people are working, and I got to go back to this topic for just a second. Mm-hmm. In America, and by the way, Tobias, a little bit about you and where you're at. Why don't you give us a little bit about you before I get into these rants here, and
Sure.
kind of give us a little bit of what you would willingly be able to tell people about yourself and where you live and so forth.
Sure. Well, I'm actually a Canadian. Pretty much half of my family is American. I do live in the western half of Canada, and my background is, well, I've done a number of different things. I've taught investigation and participated in different things like that, and photography is one of my loves, and there's a lot of different things, hobbies, things like that, all of which ultimately, when we get back to community, are things that I think a lot of people think that perhaps they don't know what they would give if they found themselves in a situation, community situation like that. But even hobbies or talents that you think may not be of value are oftentimes are things that other people will need that they haven't a clue how to do or who to approach to get it done. Mm-hmm. So,
right. Like maybe a person actually has tried to garden, worked hard at gardening, but doesn't know how to garden.
Right. Exactly.
Or maybe somebody wants to learn how to build a house, but doesn't understand how to build a house.
Right.
But where there's a will, there's a way, so to speak. I'm real happy that you represent what we are saying community is about, stepping forward to initiate. Now, let me put it this way. Tobias is not a boss. He and I aren't bosses. Neither one of us. We're just coordinators. We're just like traffic directors. We put ourselves in the traffic, and we risk getting hit. And we're going to hope to dodge some of that, the bad drivers out there, and so that's going to occur, and that's all just part of the job. And what we're really trying to be is traffic directors.
Yes.
We're going to just coordinate and help make things happen by making it easier for the communities at large to get together. And by the way, Tobias will be kind of fielding those emails that I had just mentioned earlier. We've got one that's community. Did I miss any of them? We've got community at Mail Vault. We've got Let's at Mail Vault. That's it, right?
Yep, you can. Yep, those are the two main emails.
Okay.
It'll sort of keep it straightened out a little bit.
And so if anybody wants to get a hold of Tobias, just, welcome him, saying hello, nice to hear from you. They could write to you on either one of those. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps just if you're interested in community in your area, if you feel lost and don't know if there's others around you, just put your state, city, state, area, country in the subject line, perhaps in capital letters, and it'll be a little easier for me to sort out. But really, I mean, this is something that needs to be done. I think we're all aware of that. And